Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the latest 90-Day Fiancé news update. A new season of TLC's 90 Day, The Single Life premiered on February 9th, bringing back familiar faces for another shot at love. One of those reality stars is fan favorite Kimberly Menzies, who is best remembered for her short-lived romance with Nigerian rapper Usman Umar. But while Kimberly navigates the dating scene, a bigger family revelation has been unfolding. Before filming began, Kimberly revealed to her son Jamal that he had two siblings he had no idea existed, a secret she had kept from him for 30 years. On the Season 5 premiere of 90 Day, The Single Life, Kimberly Menzies drops a bombshell, and it has nothing to do with her dating life. In a confessional, she reveals that her relationship with her son, Jamal Menzies, has been strained ever since she told him he has two other siblings he had no idea about in his 30 years of life. Kimberly then shares that she had a son named Larry. Before welcoming Jamal, giving insight as to why she gave him up for adoption, Jamal's dad and I were never married. We were together for 7.5 years. We were in the military together, and he was just cheating all the time. It was just like every day, there was a different girl. When I got pregnant with my first son, Larry, the first thing his dad said was abort it, and I just couldn't do that, she said. But I was only 21 years old. I couldn't imagine being a single mom. I was not mentally ready. I was starting my military career. I was just not ready. So I decided to put my son up for adoption. It wasn't until last year when Larry began looking for his biological mom that the two reconnected. As Jamal sits with his mother, he admits he doesn't think she would have ever told him about his siblings if Larry hadn't discovered the family through an ancestry website in his own confessional. Jamal shares, "I don't know, I feel like your mom is a person you're supposed to trust. If you can't trust anyone else, you can trust her. But now it's like, wow, I can't trust anyone in the world anymore." After Kimberly reconnected with her son, Larry, she and Jamal flew out to North Carolina to meet him for the first time. She also learns that she is a grandmother. Meeting Larry for the first time was like crazy because I'm looking at him. I'm like, okay, this is my blood, this is my son, and he has my face. He looks just like me, but he's a total stranger to me. She tells the camera. Kimberly shares that she invited Larry to San Diego so that he could get to know more about his biological mother and family. But as she and Jamal discuss what she and Larry will talk about once he arrives, she drops another bombshell. Kimberly admits that when Larry arrives, she will tell him about the other one. As the episode ends, she confesses that she also has a daughter that Larry does not know about. "Larry wasn't the only child that I put up for adoption. I also had a daughter." She shares a teaser for next week's episode, shows Kimberly and Jamal meeting Larry, along with his wife and son, at a park, where she's forced to confront him and the full truth. And that moment is exactly where everything begins to unravel even further. Because what viewers are about to witness isn't just another emotional reunion or a reality TV twist. It's a deeply personal story that's been hidden for decades. And now it's finally coming to light in front of millions of people. As the cameras continue to roll, Kimberly finds herself standing at a crossroads between the life she built and the past she tried to leave behind. For years, she managed to keep parts of her history buried, focusing on raising Jamal and building a strong bond with him. But now, with Larry back in her life and the existence of another child revealed, the emotional weight of those choices is becoming impossible to ignore. The upcoming meeting at the park becomes more than just a casual family gathering. It's a moment loaded with tension, anticipation, and the kind of vulnerability that only comes when long-held secrets are finally spoken out loud. Jamal, still processing the news that he has siblings he never knew existed, tries to prepare himself for what's ahead. He's always seen his mother as someone open and honest, someone he could rely on for truth and support. But now, that image has been shaken. The realization that such a huge part of his family history was hidden from him leaves him questioning not only his mother's decisions but also the foundation of trust between them. As viewers watch Jamal sit quietly beside Kimberly during the car ride to the park, his expression tells a story of its own. He's torn between empathy for what his mother went through at such a young age and the pain of feeling excluded from something so personal and significant. Kimberly, meanwhile, is visibly nervous. She knows this meeting isn't just about reconnecting with Larry, it's about facing the consequences of choices she made decades ago when she was young, scared, and unsure of her future. Back then, she believed giving her children up for adoption was the best decision she could make under the circumstances. She was focused on her military career, her mental health, and the reality of being a single mother without support. But decisions made in survival mode often carry emotional echoes that last for years. As Kimberly steps out of the car and sees Larry standing across the park with his wife and young son, time seems to slow down. For a brief moment, everything feels surreal. The son she once held as a newborn, the child she said goodbye to in hopes of giving him a better life, is now standing in front of her as a grown man with a family of his own. The resemblance between them is undeniable. Their facial features, their expressions, even the way they stand mirrors one another. It's a powerful reminder that while years and distance separated them, blood ties have a way of enduring. Larry, on the other hand, approaches the meeting with a mixture of curiosity and cautious optimism. He spent years wondering about his biological mother, imagining what she might be like and why she made the decisions she did. When he finally found her through an ancestry website, he knew his life was about to change. But no amount of preparation could fully prepare him for the emotional complexity of meeting her face to face. As they greet each other, there's an initial awkwardness, a moment where neither quite knows what to say. Then, slowly, the tension begins to ease as they exchange smiles and tentative hugs. Jamal watches closely from the side, observing the interaction between his mother and his newly discovered brother. It's a strange experience, seeing someone who shares his blood yet feels like a complete stranger. He can't help but wonder what his life might have been like if he'd known about Larry all along. Would they have grown up together? Would they have shared memories, holidays, and milestones? These questions linger in his mind as he steps forward to introduce himself. The meeting quickly becomes emotional as stories begin to surface. Kimberly shares memories from her youth, explaining the circumstances that led to her decision all those years ago. She speaks about fear, uncertainty, and the overwhelming pressure she felt at the time. Larry listens carefully, absorbing every word. While there's no anger in his expression, there's a depth of emotion that's impossible to ignore. For him, this meeting isn't about assigning blame. It's about understanding where he comes from and building a connection with the woman who gave him life. Just when it seems like the conversation has reached a steady rhythm, Kimberly realizes she can't avoid the next revelation any longer. She knows that if she truly wants to rebuild trust and create an honest relationship with her children, she has to tell the whole truth. Taking a deep breath, she begins to explain that Larry wasn't the only child she placed for adoption. There was also a daughter, another piece of the family puzzle that has remained hidden until now. The words hang in the air as everyone processes what she's just said. Jamal's eyes widen slightly while Larry looks stunned. Even though he's only just discovered one sibling, the idea that there's another out there adds an entirely new layer to the situation. Kimberly's voice trembles as she continues, admitting that she's carried the weight of these secrets for years. She feared judgment, rejection, and the possibility of reopening old wounds. But keeping everything hidden only made the eventual truth more complicated. Now, with the cameras capturing every moment, there's no turning back. The conversation shifts from shock to reflection as the group begins discussing what this means for their future. Will they try to find Kimberly's daughter? How will this new information affect their relationships moving forward? These questions don't have easy answers, but one thing is clear: the family dynamic has changed forever. As the sun begins to set over the park, the meeting ends with a mix of emotions. There's relief in finally speaking the truth, but also uncertainty about what comes next. For Kimberly, this is just the beginning of a long journey toward healing and reconciliation. For Jamal and Larry, it's the start of a relationship that will require patience, understanding, and time. And for viewers, this unfolding story promises to be one of the most emotionally charged arcs of the season because, beyond the drama and the headlines, it's a reminder that real lives and real emotions exist behind every reality TV storyline. In the episodes ahead, audiences will continue to watch as Kimberly navigates the delicate process of rebuilding trust with her sons and possibly reconnecting with her daughter. Each step forward will come with challenges, but also opportunities for growth and closure. Stay tuned as this powerful family story continues to unfold, revealing layers of emotion, resilience, and the complicated beauty of second chances. And now that the truth is finally out in the open, the emotional journey for Kimberly, Jamal, and Larry is only just beginning. The park meeting may have ended with hugs and cautious smiles, but once the cameras pull back and everyone returns to their everyday lives, the reality of what just happened starts to sink in. For Jamal especially, the situation feels overwhelming. In a single moment, his understanding of his family has completely shifted. He went from being an only child to suddenly discovering he has not just one, but potentially two siblings he never knew existed. That kind of revelation doesn't settle easily. As he reflects on everything his mother told him, he finds himself caught between sympathy and lingering hurt. He understands that Kimberly was young and scared when she made those choices. He understands that she believed adoption was the best option for those children at the time, but understanding doesn't immediately erase the feeling of betrayal that comes from learning such major family secrets so late in life. Meanwhile, Kimberly is also grappling with her own emotional storm. For years, she carried these memories, quietly convincing herself that keeping them buried was the best way to protect everyone involved. She focused on raising Jamal, building a stable life, and moving forward from the difficult decisions of her early adulthood. But now that everything has surfaced, she realizes there's no simple way to move past it. Every conversation, every interaction with her sons now carries the weight of the past. Back at her home in San Diego, Kimberly sits down with the cameras for another confessional. Her voice is softer this time, more reflective. She admits that she never imagined her private history would become such a central part of her public story. Joining reality television was supposed to be about finding love, about sharing her personality and experiences with viewers. Instead, it has turned into a deeply personal exploration of family, forgiveness, and truth. She explains that reconnecting with Larry has brought both joy and regret. Joy because she finally has the opportunity to know him as an adult, to learn about the life he's built and the person he's become. Regret because she missed so many years. She wasn't there for his first steps, his school milestones, or the countless moments that shape a parent-child relationship. Seeing him now with a family of his own makes those lost years feel even more significant. Larry, on the other hand, is processing the situation in his own way. After returning home from the meeting, he talks with his wife about everything that was revealed. He admits that finding his biological mother has always been something he imagined, but the reality is far more complex than he expected. He didn't just gain a connection to his past, he also gained a brother and the possibility of another sibling he has yet to meet. The idea of expanding his family so suddenly is both exciting and daunting. He wants to build a relationship with Kimberly and Jamal, but he also knows that trust and familiarity take time. For Jamal, the emotional tension continues to build. As he tries to reconcile his love for his mother with the shock of her revelations, during a candid conversation with friends, he opens up about how the situation has affected him. He admits that he's always believed in being honest and transparent in relationships. Discovering that his own family history includes secrets of this magnitude makes him question what else he might not know. His friends encourage him to give Kimberly time and to consider the circumstances she faced years ago. They remind him that people make decisions based on the information and resources they have at the time. While that perspective helps, it doesn't completely resolve his feelings. He still needs space to process everything and to rebuild his sense of trust. As the next episode unfolds, viewers see Kimberly preparing for Larry's visit to San Diego. She wants the trip to be welcoming and comfortable, an opportunity for him to get to know her world and the family environment she's created. She carefully plans activities from casual dinners to sightseeing around the city. At the same time, she knows that the visit will likely include difficult conversations. There are still questions that need answers, emotions that need to be acknowledged, and the lingering topic of her daughter that remains unresolved. When Larry arrives in San Diego, the atmosphere is both warm and slightly tense. Kimberly greets him with genuine excitement, eager to make up for lost time. Jamal is polite and friendly, but there's a noticeable distance in his demeanor. He's still adjusting to the new reality of having a brother and the complicated emotions that come with it. The group spends their first evening sharing a meal, exchanging stories about their lives and trying to establish a sense of normalcy. Laughter begins to break through the initial awkwardness as they discover shared interests and similar senses of humor. Yet beneath the surface, everyone is aware that deeper conversations are inevitable. At one point during the visit, Kimberly sits down with Larry for a one-on-one conversation. She wants to tell him more about the circumstances surrounding his adoption and to answer any questions he might have. It's a vulnerable moment for both of them. Larry listens carefully, occasionally asking for clarification or sharing his own perspective. He explains that growing up, he always felt loved and supported by his adoptive family, but there was still a part of him that wondered about his origins. Finding Kimberly has helped fill in some of those gaps, even if it's also introduced new complexities. Eventually, the conversation turns to the topic Kimberly has been both dreading and preparing for her daughter. She takes a deep breath and tells Larry that there's another sibling out there, another person who shares their blood and their story. Larry absorbs the information quietly, his expression thoughtful. He admits that it's a lot to take in, but he appreciates Kimberly's honesty. He tells her that while the situation is complicated, he's grateful to finally know the truth. As the visit continues, the family begins discussing the possibility of searching for Kimberly's daughter. It's not a decision they take lightly. Reaching out could open old wounds or disrupt lives that have long since settled into new paths. But it could also create an opportunity for connection and closure. The idea lingers as they weigh the potential outcomes and consider what it might mean for everyone involved. Throughout these unfolding events, one thing becomes increasingly clear. This season of 90 Day, The Single Life is about far more than dating and romance for Kimberly Menzies. It's about confronting the past, rebuilding relationships, and finding a way to move forward with honesty and compassion. For viewers, the story offers a rare glimpse into the complexities of family dynamics shaped by adoption, secrecy, and the passage of time. And as the episodes continue to air, audiences will watch closely to see how Kimberly, Jamal, and Larry navigate this new chapter together. Because while the initial revelations have already changed their lives, the journey toward understanding and healing is only just beginning. Because while the initial revelations have already changed their lives, the journey toward understanding and healing is only just beginning. As the days pass after Larry's visit to San Diego, the emotional intensity doesn't fade. Instead, it deepens for Kimberly. Every quiet moment becomes a chance to reflect on how dramatically her life has shifted in such a short time. She went into this season hoping to rediscover herself and maybe even find love again. But instead, she's been forced to confront chapters of her past that she had carefully tucked away for decades. Now those chapters are not only open, they're being lived out in real time. Jamal continues to wrestle with his feelings as well. Although he's made an effort to be welcoming toward Larry, the adjustment isn't easy. He spent his entire life as Kimberly's only child, building a close bond with her that felt exclusive and secure. Now that sense of exclusivity has been replaced by a broader, more complicated family dynamic. During a late-night conversation captured on camera, Jamal admits that he feels like his identity within the family has shifted overnight. He's not just Kimberly's son anymore. He's one of 3 children, possibly more if future discoveries come to light. That realization brings both curiosity and uncertainty. At the same time, Jamal also recognizes the importance of empathy. He sees how emotional this journey has been for his mother. He sees the vulnerability in her expressions, the way she sometimes struggles to find the right words, and while he still has questions and lingering hurt, he begins to understand that Kimberly is navigating her own complicated mix of relief and regret. Meanwhile, Larry returns home with plenty on his mind. The trip to San Diego gave him a glimpse into the life he might have had under different circumstances. He met his biological mother, spent time with his brother, and saw the environment. Where they live, it's a lot to process. Sitting down with his wife, he talks about the experience in detail. He shares how surreal it felt to look at Kimberly and see his own features reflected back at him. He describes the warmth of their interactions and the sense of familiarity that slowly began to grow despite the years of separation. But he also acknowledges the challenges ahead. Building a relationship with Kimberly and Jamal won't happen overnight. It will require patience, communication, and a willingness to navigate uncomfortable emotions. Back in San Diego, Kimberly begins to consider the next steps. One of the biggest questions still hanging in the air is whether to search for her daughter. It's a topic that brings both hope and anxiety. On one hand, the idea of reconnecting with another child fills her with longing. She wonders what her daughter's life has been like, whether she's happy, and whether she's ever been curious about her biological roots. On the other hand, Kimberly fears disrupting a life that may already be complete and content. She worries about reopening wounds or causing confusion. During a heartfelt conversation with Jamal, she shares these concerns openly. Jamal listens. Carefully offering his perspective, he tells her that while the situation is complicated, honesty has already brought them this far. If there's a chance to connect with his sister and build a relationship, he believes it's worth considering. His words provide Kimberly with a sense of reassurance. For the first time since revealing her secrets, she feels like there might be a path forward that includes understanding and support from her children. As the cameras follow Kimberly through her daily routine, viewers see a different side of her. She's more introspective now, more aware of the impact her choices have had on the people around her. Simple activities like making coffee in the morning or walking along the beach become moments of reflection. She thinks about her younger self, the 21-year-old woman who faced decisions she felt unprepared to handle. She thinks about the years that followed, the life she built, and the ways she tried to move forward. And she thinks about the present, where all those past decisions are finally converging. The season continues to weave together Kimberly's family journey with her attempts to re-enter the dating world. Friends encourage her not to lose sight of her own happiness. They remind her that while reconnecting with her children is important, she also deserves companionship and joy in her personal life. Kimberly appreciates their support, but she admits that dating feels secondary at the moment. Her priority is healing her relationships with Jamal and Larry and deciding how to approach the possibility of finding her daughter. In upcoming scenes teased by the show, viewers catch glimpses of emotional phone calls, heartfelt conversations, and moments of quiet contemplation. There are smiles and laughter, but also tears and difficult truths. Each interaction brings Kimberly and her sons a little closer to understanding one another. Each step forward is accompanied by the recognition that rebuilding trust takes time. As this chapter of the story unfolds, one thing becomes clear. This isn't just a storyline about secrets revealed. It's a story about resilience, forgiveness, and the complicated nature of family. It's about how people grow and change, how they confront the past, and how they find ways to move forward together. For Kimberly, Jamal, and Larry, the journey is far from over. There are still conversations to be had, connections to strengthen, and decisions to make about what comes next. But despite the uncertainty, there's also a sense of possibility. The possibility of healing old wounds. The possibility of building new relationships, and the possibility of creating a future defined not by secrets, but by honesty and understanding. As viewers continue watching this emotional journey play out on 90 Day, The Single Life, they'll see firsthand how one revelation can reshape an entire family's story. And with each new episode, the question remains, will this family find the closure and connection they've been searching for, or will the weight of the past continue to challenge their path forward? Stay tuned, because this story is still unfolding, and the most powerful moments may be yet to come.